Hey guys, welcome back to our Chicago broadcast here of Mainframe Comic-Con, broadcasting from Chicago Comics in the heart of the Windy City, 3244 North Clark Street, just under the shadow of Wrigley Field. We hope you guys are enjoying all the fun here at Mainframe Comic-Con. If you have a question for our next guests, leave them in the comment section. We'll try to get those asked at the end of the interview. So let's keep this Mainframe thing rolling right along. Very excited to announce our next guest. There's one of them. You know them from the critically acclaimed sketch comedy show, The Kids in the Hall. Actors and comedians Scott Thompson and Bruce McCullough. This is a real honor. Thanks for coming to Mainframe.
We're happy to be here. Scott Thompson looks crazy. I think he got a facelift overnight.
No, it's just tape.
Okay, good.
Tape.
Good.
Bruce, we'll get into this, but are those show notes I see in the background over there?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. No. That's I'm in my actual office, my home office, and those are cards from the upcoming series of Kids in the Hall. Some things we wrote, some things just didn't make it, did they, Scott?
No, they didn't. That's why I look crazy and I had a facelift.
Yeah, he takes rejection very badly, young Scott Thompson.
Well, speaking of hanging out in one's home office, how are you guys handling your current social isolation? You guys are coming to us from Toronto, Canada, I believe?
Yes,
How's things going up there?
Scott's going crazy. Scott got 2 cats.
I haven't got the cats yet, though, so I'm a little crazy. I've started to pet an old sweater that I left in the middle of the living room, and I keep coming in and going, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" And I keep petting it because it's the color of my cats that are coming.
No.
But it started talking back last night, so...
Once they do the home visit, Scott, they will not give you those cats.
That's a good thing about COVID. They're not doing any home visits, so they have no idea. They're just giving them to me.
Yeah.
They trust us now.
Well, I mean, let's go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Kids in the Hall, I mean, personally, huge fan. I've been watching your show since I was a child, been watching it all through. I've seen the live stage show, loved the movie. I wonder if we can kind of wind the clock back just a couple years to the beginning of Kids in the Hall. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Can you kind of explain to our audience sort of how the 5 of you guys got together, your introduction to Lorne Michaels, pretty much the entire history of the early years of Kids in the Hall?
Shouldn't I just go, these are the Daves I know? No. Mark and I originated out of Calgary. We went to something called Loose Moose Theater, which was theater sports, which was improvised comedy. And we just started saying, hey, can we write some scenes after? And we wrote The Daves I Know and, Farmers on Heroin and all our crazy sketches. And we got successful relatively quickly. And then I said, we have to move to Toronto.
Calgary successful.
Yeah, Calgary successful. There was 9 people in the audience, 3 of them with cowboy boots. And we came to Toronto, and then we had made a friendship with Dave and Kevin and started working with them. And then the Gay Blade came in near the end and gave us our performance power in Scott Thompson. And so we just, it sounds like it happened fast, but it seemed like it took forever in our minds, I think.
I thought so.
Yeah. And we had been scouted by Saturday Night Live, and Mark and I ended up going as writers. And we sort of became friends with Lorne because we were Canadians, and he'd walk by our office and go, Canadians are really nice. And he said, do you want to come out to Amagansett sometime? And I said, why? Is it a work thing? He said, no, it's a social thing. I said, oh, no, I don't think I need to go. But he became friends with us, and he came and saw the troupe and said, hey, let's do a show. And many years later, we got on the air.
Yeah. Is that pretty much right, Scott? Did he skip anything?
Pretty much right, yeah. It's pretty close. And then Lorne brought us down to New York, and he wanted to test us in 87, 88. And he said, you're big in Toronto, and that's like, nothing compared to New York. He wanted to see if we could make it in New York. So he brought us down to New York. He put us up in really crappy apartments. He gave us an allowance, and he had us open for everybody. He just said, you're going to do it. You're going to open for all these people. You're going to learn. I'm going to give you an allowance. And at the end of 6 months, if you have an audience, then we'll really see about getting you a show. And it worked. We got a Rolling Stone story, and that was it. And then Canada, you have to be successful in the States before they take you seriously here. So that worked out.
Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the show, guys. Since it's just the 2 of us, I feel like we can be honest with one another. We can let all the truth fly. But out of all the 5 cast members, who do you think plays the sexiest, most attractive female. And can you point to a specific character who you think really crushed the other gender more than anybody else?
May I say something here about this?
Yeah.
I've always found this very interesting, that men always say this. They always go, who's the best looking woman? As if the best looking woman is the most realistic woman. And I think I would say Dave was the most beautiful woman, that, because of an accident of genetics, et cetera, and the shape of his face and all the rest of it. And I also probably the most realistic too. So I guess he wins both. And it would be Jocelyn, the French Canadian hooker.
Right.
The most beautiful woman in the show. Not played.
Bruce, do you agree?
Well, I guess it's always such a weird question. I mean, of course, I think I'm the cutest woman, but because I have those nice little feet and I've got my little runner's legs.
Especially in the movie. You're just so adorable in Brain Candy.
But it is funny. I took to the drag slowly because we'd always get asked interviews about it. Tell me about the drag. And it was like, it wasn't a big thing to me. Like it didn't feel anything different than just putting on a suit jacket, which is just as foreign as So I don't know. I think though we became alive when we started playing women. Because I think when we started, we didn't really play women. And then once we started playing women, I think there's the energy of the troupe really came alive.
Because it became a real adventure to dive really deep into it. We didn't even really think of it as drag. We never called it drag. You're just playing a male character or a female character. And that was it. So it wasn't like they were trying to be glamorous or gorgeous. If they were gorgeous, then you had to try, like Dave with Jocelyn. But when I play Fran, my mother character, she's certainly not gorgeous or glamorous, but she's certainly a woman. And it was a real adventure. I mean, a real adventure, actually.
Well, you talk about coming up with new characters and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about the creative process with the whole troupe? I mean, you guys all come up with your own characters and skits, or is it a really group effort?
We don't know, quite honestly. It's funny that Kevin McDonald tours around America and Canada teaching workshops on comedy writing. I don't know how to do it. It's really chaos theory. Someone will have an idea, someone else will have an idea. We write together, we write individually. We fight about ideas. Someone will take somebody else's idea and say, I'm writing that up. Hey, you can't write that up. That's my idea. Yeah. And what was interesting for this Amazon show is that we spent a lot of time together in a room, just blue skying, as they call it. Just you got anything? Yeah. How about a hostage taking situation? Okay. And just going, I said to Mark, hey, how about something on the wonderful world of recycling? And then he just snaps to, and now we have a crazy recycling scene. And I think our show, the new series, is going to be really good for that reason. That before COVID, got us working virtually, we spent weeks together around a table in the way we really probably hadn't, right, Scott? And I think it really helped us face each other, laugh at each other's ideas, and when the Pixies go on the road, they gotta play with each other, and that's what we did.
I think we were a little more generous with each other than we were when we were younger. And I think that's a good thing because, as Bruce said earlier, there's something that happened in this one that never really happened before. Someone would have an idea and they didn't really have the energy or how to write it, and someone else would take it and write it. And that didn't really happen before. Like Squee, this piece that I wrote. It didn't get in, but I'm still going to keep pushing. But it was
still get in.
Yeah, about pigs looking forward to being slaughtered. But I loved it because I knew how to write it. And but that sort of thing didn't really happen before. I remember when Bruce, when you tried to write the Buddy Cole monologue. Right. I was having none of it years ago.
Yeah, once I wrote him a monologue and he said, I'm not doing it, but I'll strip it for jokes.
I did. I mean, I still might do that today, but I would be much more open to thinking, geez, someone else might have a good idea too.
Right.
So that was really exciting. And we were very lucky that we had all those weeks before the world fell apart, before they pushed us into solitary confinement. And that was a real gift to us.
It looks like Bruce is still working back there.
I'm working.
He's got a lot of notes on his wall.
We're still working. I'm not stopping.
I thought you were talking about he kept changing his décolleté tabs.
Yeah.
Opening it and then closing it. And going
speaking of Buddy Cole, are we going to see any Buddy Cole in the upcoming Amazon? I know you guys can't say much about it.
We can't shut Buddy Cole up. The funny thing about whenever we work with Scott, be it on tour, be it anything, he goes, I'm not doing Buddy Cole. And we say, oh, okay, fine. We don't need Buddy Cole. No, I'm serious. I am not doing Buddy Cole. And this will go on and on and on. And then he'll finally go, okay, I'll do Buddy Cole. The show needs him. And it's like, Scott, we don't really want you to do Buddy Cole. And it's just a fun game to play with Scott for 30 years.
And we played it all through this one, too. So, yes, making an appearance, even after me making a speech about, you know what, I think we've gone past Buddy Cole. I know I have 11 monologues, but I don't need to put them in. And then cut to, I think we need a bit more Buddy.
So you open your luggage and there's an ascot and just ready to go just in case you need it.
Yeah. No, he's definitely making an appearance. Yeah.
And I will say for anyone who have seen Scott's one-man show with the Buddy Cole, it is brilliant. I mean, for me, that was one of the reasons I really wanted to get back on the air. Like, he is saying stuff that is so smart, so weird, so wild, so edgy. And I don't know if he's going to tour with it again. Maybe people won't tour for a while, but it is brilliant. And so you'll see some flashes of that in the series.
Yeah.
Very, very excited for that, guys. I want to talk a little bit about Brain Candy. We're kind of moving in a timeline sort of way here in the interview. 1996, guys, if you haven't seen it, Kids in the Hall, they made the jump from television to the big screen with the movie Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the decision to make the jump from the small screen to the big screen? How did it... where'd that idea come from? Was it you guys? Was it just the natural progression in that time? Because a lot of Saturday Night Live movies were getting made out of Saturday Night Live sketches. Obviously, you guys are not Saturday Night Live, but
no, we're not.
Yeah, what made the jump from small screen to big screen?
Well, I think it was just something we were told we should do. I mean, I think we thought then that you graduated from your TV show and then you did a series of movies. Yeah. Unfortunately for us, the movie that we had to do was Brain Candy. Mm-hmm. And, it's only, like, we've done some readings of it and stuff now. I think it's only when we went through this, look back on this dark period in our professional and personal lives, that we've been able to move forward, because it really was our darkest days. Mm-hmm. It was, there was some personal problems in the troupe and people's families and things like that. And just the process of making it was so horrendous. I remember looking at a call sheet and it said all calls add 6.5 hours, because it just took so much work, and it was so, so there was some pain that you can actually feel, I think, in the movie if you watched it.
It was a nightmare.
Well, I mean, if you just look at the list of characters in your IMDb. I mean, Bruce, you alone, you played Alice, Cisco, Grievo, Worm Pill Scientist, Cop Number 2, Cancer Boy, White Trash Man. I mean, you guys did how many characters in that movie?
40 something.
Yeah, it was too many. And the great Lorne Michaels has a great line, which is how will we miss you if you don't go away? Meaning that performers should get off screen for a minute. And I think if I had Brain Candy to do again, I would cast some of those roles with other performers.
I think what Bruce is trying to say is, if he had to do it over again, he'd cast those roles with me. I think.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Scott, your list is insane. I mean, there were times in that movie where you're playing Mrs. Hurticore and a scientist, like in the same scene.
I know.
What was Dave doing while you were over here filling all the spots?
I never spoke to Dave once during that movie, so I have no idea. I only spoke to him when we were shooting. That's the truth. So with the movie was so lucky back then. So many characters. I mean, can both you guys point to a character you liked? A playing the most in Brain Candy, and B, you were most happy with the way that it came out on screen.
Well, I mean, I have to say Cancer Boy, because it is the beauty of our stupidity. Like, and the fact that we didn't cut Cancer Boy out of the movie, which was, it took a hit. Like they pulled the advertising when we wouldn't take Cancer Boy out of the movie, or minimized it. And so it was, win the battle, not the war. But I still think that sweet little soul of that little guy, there's just something about him that I loved so much. And so I'd have to say Cancer Boy.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I think it was Cancer Boy, and I can't believe people still to this day think Bruce played Cancer Boy. It's unbelievable to me. I let it go. You know what? I've gotten gracious. I think that's the only word for me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, another character, and then this one always kind of fascinates me. In 1997, Mike Myers famously parodied Lorne Michaels as Dr. Evil and Austin Powers, but you guys did it first when Mark McKinney played Don.
Don Roar Tour.
Yes.
Did Lorne know that was coming, or did it take him by surprise? Was it his idea? Did he have to give you the green light, or did he even realize you guys were? It was an obvious Lorne Michael parody.
Well, I remember we had the first screening at Paramount. And we didn't tell him, and I guess his people should have told him. He came, and he was white. He came from the screen. We walked from the screening together to his bungalow, and he said, "I guess I should be flattered." And I said, "Yeah, we all love you. It's such a loving portrayal." And he went, and I saw him kind of make the decision. Okay, that's cool, because he's such a smart guy. He knows that he should be fodder too. And there's no one more interesting as an enigmatic, sort of laconic powermonger than the great Lorne Michaels, for sure. But he didn't know what was coming.
And we're all Canadian, so we can do it. I think that's why you let Mike and us take the piss out of him.
Right.
You get to pat. Well, I mean, I want to talk about the live stage show. We were lucky enough to see, I believe it was the Rusty and Ready tour when you came to the Chicago Theater. It was absolutely amazing. You came out in the white wedding dresses right at the bat. I mean, you did some of my favorite sketches live on stage. I mean, at what point after the movie, after the series, did you guys say, you know what, let's take this thing on the road and see if it works? And how's it different than, your experiences on set?
Well, I think it was 5 years before we toured. After Brain Candy, we didn't speak to each other for years. Actually, each person went into their own little orbit, and then sort of realized that we're better together. And then we slowly came back together again. And I guess 5 years after we put everything to bed, we started touring again, and it was fun.
Well, and I think that is the thing. I think once we realized. It was the first time we went out was in 2000, and somebody said, "You're selling tickets faster than Sting." It's like, oh, great. Great, I have to do more shows. And that's how it was at that time, but it was so fun. And I think, we had lots of fun doing the show, and we have fun together, but mostly it's hard. And I think the live shows have always been fun. It's always been fun to be drunk on the bus with my brothers going from Portland to Seattle. And playing for people, and because we never really got to enjoy ourselves when we were doing the show. The TV show, it was just such a grind. I remember going to bed every night with my ears ringing because I was so exhausted. But the tour was so much fun that we wanted to keep doing it.
And the great thing about touring and performing like that, you don't have to write; you just have to perform, and that's a beauty, because writing is such a burden. And I mean, I love it, but it is a burden. And it haunts you until you get it right. But once you're ready to perform, it's a dream.
Bruce, we got a hilarious question here in the comment section. I wanted to ask you from BA in the house. He writes, Bruce, if there was a pill that gave worms to ex-girlfriends, would you use it?
Well, I would need hundreds, to be quite frank. No, that would be cruel. That would be misogynist. I couldn't.
That'd be horrible.
That was just a character I was playing.
That's a terrorist act.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Amazon show. Guys, it's coming back after so many years on Amazon Prime Video. It is the first ever Amazon original series, Canadian Amazon original series. You guys proud of that? Is that something that you're like, wow, we're the first?
Yeah, very proud. Yeah.
I mean, it's, we feel like we're Canadian. And it's when we were starting to talk about what we would do for a show, like, oh, we're not at the CBC? Oh, that's weird. But Amazon seemed like such a great place that it felt like really the right thing to do.
And they didn't say they were going to change all the references, which was always a struggle before. They were like, yeah, you're Canadian, you don't have to change things to make it American. And that's amazing, because that's always been a struggle. Well, Americans can't relate to it if it's Canadian. I think that people are past that now, and I'm really glad of that. And Amazon they've not said anything about that. So they go, you be who you are, and part of who you are is sadly Canadian.
No, they've embraced that. I mean, I think that's part of their spoken mandate.
We're finally a country. We're like, oh, you're like British. If you're British or German or whatever, they just say, do who you are. So we are who we are. We tried our damnedest to kill it, but we can't.
You guys are a beacon of hope for everybody down there right now, I got to say. So, I mean, how much, percentage-wise, how many new sketches are we looking at versus how many sort of recurring? I know you can't talk about a lot. Right. We don't want to pry, but is it?
No, I'll read you some stuff. Just kidding. No,
we're
doing a lot of new material. Like we're doing some of we'll probably do wedding dresses from our stage show, or some of our favorite things. But we're writing new weird things, and we've always responded to the world we're in, and now we're weird older men in this murky world. So that's what our material is. But yeah, people's favorite characters will be there in new situations, and you'll see old characters kind of dealing with the modern world a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then there's just brand new stuff that just, we thought was funny and we wrote.
And again, we were so lucky because we had half of the time before COVID and then the other half after COVID. So we're so lucky that we get to write about the two worlds. And it's all new, basically. There's stuff from the tour and stuff from a couple of monologues from my show, but it's new. And it's exciting to also take characters that have aged and going, what are they doing now?
The kid in the chair, the painting of the chair, and he's all grown up.
We can he'd still be a kid. We've talked about this. The Cathys have aged. Brandon Gordon have aged.
Like I think two characters don't age. Buddy and Gavin haven't changed. Yeah. They're exactly the same age as they always were.
There we go. Diaz. We wish we were Canadian. So, I mean, obviously, there's been no release date set for the show, as far as I'm aware. Was a relaunch of the show something that you guys always kind of had in the back of your mind, or was it something that you just kind of decided to do recently?
Oh, no, it's just been in the back of our collective mind for quite a few years, I think.
Yeah, and I think, to be frank, Scott has been beating the drum the hardest. He would take me out for lunch every 6 months, come 40 minutes late, and then plead that we should do the show. We're so weird as a group. Like, we don't make any sense, the Kids in the Hall. No. And I think we all wanted to do it. We just never got around to it. And then somebody was busy, and then somebody else was busy. And it sort of became like, okay, if we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. Yeah. And I think we've loved each other so much over the last few years that it felt like, let's do this again. Because we still have stuff to say, Yeah,
because I don't know. Like, for me, it's just it's the place where I'm most myself. It's where I get to do what I do, and I think all of us are like that. And so I've wanted to do this for quite a few years, and I'm because I want to comment. We want to comment on the world as we go through it. It's like that thing 7-Up, where they go back to those kids every 7 years. We're kind of like that. We're like the 7-Up gang. We're now the 59 Up gang, you know?
Well, I remember when I went to see Mavis Staples one night, and she was 75 at the time, and she was so amazing. And I remember at the end of the show, she said, I've got CDs for sale in the lobby. Yeah. And for some reason I said, okay, I'm a blues musician. I got to keep doing this. And that's why I even do my own shows. I don't care if there's 200 people or 2,000 people there. We're kind of blues musicians. We got to keep doing it. And I think that's what I got to. Yeah,
I'd say mine was my experience with that was B.B. King in the 70s. Going, look at that fucking man! It's unbelievable. And so that's who we are. Yeah, B.B. King and Mavis Staples. It's been pretty obvious for years, but I think
we are black icons. It's so clear.
Pretty much, we're black blues musicians.
I had a question from a DJ Stang GFX in the comment section. He said, question, did you guys think back to Shakespearean times where the man portrayed women for inspiration?
It would be Scott, if anybody.
I would answer to that. I would say maybe no. Also, at the same time, the reason that we played women is very much the same reason they played women back then. Because back then, they had no women. Women weren't allowed to be actors. They were basically, an actor was a whore. Right. And you could be both. And so you cut to us many, many years later, and we didn't have any women, so it was necessity.
Yeah, we were such losers that we could attract no women at all to work with us.
And this is how bad they were as men. I'm the gay guy. I got way more women than they did. This is how unheterosexual a group this is.
A question from Andy King. He said, hi, Andy. He said, hi, Andy. I'm Andy, too. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Wrong one.
Well, he's at the bong. It's COVID time. It's the amount of cocaine and the bong.
You could have said Randy. I mean, come on, Andy.
You got to read between the lines. He's a Z is me says, will there be more shadowy men music?
There will be more shadowy men music.
Yes.
That's almost the first question we asked ourselves, and people ask us, because
really
they have always made us hip. We've never really been hip. We've never really been cool, but the shadowy men are fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to stay with that. Yeah.
So, guys, anything else you can tell us without breaking any sort of contracts about what people can expect from the new show? Anything you guys are working on?
Let's read some stuff. I got a script.
Let's take a look at the wall real quick.
You know, this might not be
Let's take a tour of Bruce's
same
office.
excitement as when we were young, but there will be nudity. Older male nudity.
I hope
Thank
there's
you,
no
Amazon.
there's no nudity. I just want to show this picture. I hope there's not too much glare on it.
Oh, I'm gonna get one. You do that. I got one to show.
Yeah, it is the inspiration of my life, and most of the Amazon series will be about this picture. And it is a picture I found on the street 25 years ago, and it is my most prized possession.
I love that picture. Half of the show will be inspired by that, and the other half will be inspired by this beauty. Bruce, you remember this?
Oh yes, very well, very well.
Tell the little story about that. You found it, didn't you?
Yeah, I found it in the street. That's where all my stuff comes from.
And I still have it, and it's down in my office, and it's going to be my new avatar. There you go. There you go. So that's what our show is going to be about. Are you pleased that I have that still, Bruce?
Oh yeah, I am. And then the other part will be Ted Kennedy doll, teddy bear, which is so that's what the Amazon series is going to be all about.
And this will be the credits. The credits will be here.
And then, of course, the closing of the show is my David Bowie quote.
Yeah.
I know when to go out, I know when to stay in.
And then, of course, we're like, we're the good guy, but, we're also the bad guy.
Yeah, good bit, Scott. Good bit. Good bit.
All right, I want to ask you if this means anything to you in the comment section. From Catherine Cox says, "Hey, Bruce, this is Jane's mom. She certainly was attracted by you guys. Do we know who Jane is and who her mom is?"
No, but I see a picture of her mom. She's not bad either.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That looks like...
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to put the ram's head back up.
Yeah, he needs the ram's head.
Put my crotch right here. There you go. There you go.
There we go.
Professionally later. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have ripped it off the wall.
Big Boss writes, "This is going off the rails and I love it."
Yeah, this is what our pitch sections have been. Scott doing like bits while we're actually spilling coffee on his computer and doing bits while we're trying to write.
Can't do comedy this way.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I wish we could do this all day long. We got to wrap it up. We're going to move on to our next guests, which are the cast from the movie Clerks. Thank you so much, Bruce and Scott, for coming to Mainframe Comic-Con, donating your time generously. Anything you'd like to tell the audience out there before we let you go?
No, just that we love you.
Yeah.
Stay sane.
Stay safe.
We'll all get through this.
Well, guys, look for season 6 of Kids in the Hall on Amazon Prime Video coming at some point. So stick around, guys. We're going to take the shortest of breaks. We're going to continue broadcasting live here from Chicago Comics on Mainframe Comic-Con. And stick around. Up next, Brian O'Halloran and Marilyn Gigliotti from the movie Clerks. Stick around. Thanks, Bruce and Scott.
See you later.
See you guys after this short break.